What up, Eagle Talk fam?
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 118.
So I need everybody to pray that our marriage stays intact.
I'm not worried.
After this episode. Because, listen, we are about to talk about something that comes up in La Casa de Luis all the time, and that is consuming versus creating. So,
full disclosure, I overconsume.
Oh, okay. Just look, testify.
Let's go on with the episode. I just had to put that out there.
Testify.
It's about to come up. It's about to come up. No, this is a good one. Consuming versus creating is good because overconsumption cannot necessarily be the best thing.
Yeah, and there is so much.
But
right?
I have a hack. I'm gonna save that to the episode, to the end of the episode.
Okay, so y'all gotta listen to the end of the episode to get Corey's hack. But this is what the thought process comes down to. So y'all know that we live in the best of times, in the instance that, you know, I remember back in like the 2000s, not the 2000s, no, that's a lie, in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like in order like to learn how to do a rided ponytail, my cousin Nikki came over my house and showed me how you like wet the weave and you roll it and then you put it in the microwave. Nikki had to come over my house and teach me that, right? But right now, whatever you want to do, like literally, it is at your fingertips. You can literally type into the internet like how to give a baby pig a bath. And I promise you, I haven't looked that up, but I promise you it's probably a video on how to give a baby pig a bath. The good thing about that is that because information is so easily accessible, here's a good and danger. Everybody's information ain't great. That's number one. Yeah. But there are so many resources that if you are interested or if you want to do something or if you want to learn more about something or if you want to grow in a specific area, chances are there is content. You're going to be able to find an online mentor. You are going to be able to access that thing so that you can do the thing. Here's the problem, is that sometimes because we have so much information and it comes from so many different sources, you access and you access and you access and you access, and then you feel crippled to actually do. And all we're doing is gaining more info. And that is what we want to talk about, right? We're consuming versus creating.
Well, there is like a proven stat that in 48 hours, we forget like 90% of the stuff that we hear. Yeah. Right. So that's the dangers of trying to learn all of this stuff or listen to all of these people because you're not going to remember it anyway. Now, some things you will retain. And I won't necessarily say what's most important, just maybe what resonates to you at the time or what. Because you're not just sitting on the couch just listening to somebody. You could be driving, working out, on the treadmill, you know, on the train, on the plane, right? So whatever gets you at that moment as far as your retention, right? Because you could be listening to something but looking at something else.
Exactly, because we're 1,000,000% distracted, right? So we're watching a YouTube video or we're listening to an audiobook, but we're also scrolling our Instagram at the same time.
Right.
You know,
so that could be a problem. And it winds up being a huge time waster if you're just watching all of this stuff, not retaining it. Yeah. I want to go back a little bit because you always use this term, and I want to make sure that I understand the correct definition of it. Imposter syndrome. Can you define?
Yeah, so this is what I think one of the huge dangers of consuming too much or overconsumption. And there are really two ways to look at imposter syndrome, right? So one way to look at it is that sometimes we get so busy looking at other people's lives, right? Other people's marriages, other people's businesses, other people's whatever, that we discount what we got going on, right? Because we feel like, oh, they're doing it. We're watching the perfectly curated, like even right now, like y'all, you're watching on the other side of this podcast, there's somebody who made it look the way it does, right? Me and Corey just didn't show up, you know, like, no, we have curated this experience, right? So if you are looking at us and looking at us today, on how to do a podcast, and not going back to when we was on Instagram Live and the phone kept falling and breaking and all that. You may think to yourself, I can never do X because I'm not doing it in the way that they're doing it, right? Just like us, we might look at somebody else who has a larger platform and end up being discouraged to do what we're called to do because we're looking at something else. So that's one way that imposter syndrome can manifest itself, in just the comparison trap.
Yeah.
Another way it can manifest itself is because you do know your junk, your stuff, that when you are in position where you are on platforms or you're serving or whatever that looks like, you start feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough to be here, right? Because again, we're looking at other people. We're overexposed to how everybody else is doing it. Then we feel phony for what we're doing. And that is a huge, huge problem with continuing to consume. So I'll give you a great example. Okay. Let's just say I'm a real estate agent. Oh, well, not let's just say, y'all know I'm real estate. I'm a real estate broker. Okay. If I am doing, and this is happening, like if I am doing well in my business, I'm doing what I got to do. I'm supporting my team. I'm feeling good about where, let's just say I'm not feeling good, but I'm working my business. If then I start scrolling, anybody starts scrolling, and the minute you start scrolling, everything that you felt good about in terms of yourself, you don't feel quite as good, right? Or I have zero desire. Let's just say I have zero desire to sell ultra luxury homes, right? Because I really, at least right now in my career, I really don't, right? I really love serving where I live. And I don't live in a $20 million price point yet. But I scroll and I see somebody else doing it and they're teaching a class on how to do ultra luxury. Like that might plant a seed in me, like I'm doing something wrong because I'm not doing it the way that they're doing it.
Some form of self-doubt.
Some form of self-doubt. And I think that the more that you consume, it can trigger that. But then it can trigger something else. It can trigger analysis paralysis, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's stagnation across the board. You're thinking but not doing.
Yep.
I'm a little weird when it comes to this type of stuff because I believe in analysis paralysis, but I also believe in being a doer. Okay, I'm gonna go off script a little bit here.
Go for it, baby.
We're talking about the whole overconsumption, even underconsumption, right? I had a revelation, and this is what I'm talking about doing, because I have been a hermit, like a homebody for so long, right? Not getting out in the world and all of this kind of stuff. There's two things that I've learned in the last month or so. I made a decision to go to Utah to go to that mastermind. Okay.
Right. So a couple weeks ago, you went to a mastermind.
A couple weeks ago.
So you went off. So the learning that you were doing on YouTube, you saw an opportunity and you're like, you know what? I need to get there in person.
100%. The second thing is, and this wasn't even on my radar, I can't even take credit for doing it. You did it. When we went to New Orleans to see Beyonce for your birthday, I'm driving down the street when we got back, and I'm thinking in my mind like, dude, do you realize in the last 5 days, you've been in the building with Ed Milet and Jay-Z? Literally, that's what I'm thinking. But I would not have had those experiences or those thoughts if I wasn't there. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's almost like you have to get out of the couch. You have to get to meeting people, right? Bradley has a thing that he says. He says the person that shakes the most hands makes more money. And it's kind of crazy to think about it like that, but it's actually getting out and meeting people. Right? I might have butchered it a little bit, but that's.
No, I mean, a couple of weeks ago when we had David Symes on the podcast, he said that relationships are the real currency.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power.
But relationships
are the real currency. It's definitely the relationship. So going back to what we're saying about the consumption of the information, sometimes it's not so much the information that you're seeking or not seeking, it's the experience. Right? And
sometimes we have to get out and go get the experience.
You have to get out and get the experience.
Yeah.
Not many people know or even think like that. And I'm just beginning probably this year to evolve into that space.
Yeah.
The point that I'm making is we can talk about analysis paralysis. We can talk about the imposter syndrome. We can talk about overconsumption. We can talk about all of that. But if you're not choosing to get out and do anything about it, it's just a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
Now,
1,000,000%.
I'm going to get off my soapbox on this point. Here's a hack that I figured because, again, I'm raising my hand that I do overconsume, okay? I figured out, going back to the stat on that most people forget things within the first 48 hours, the whole key to the retention is to take notes. Mm-hmm. And what am I saying? It doesn't. You don't have to be sitting in front of the TV and with a 5-star subject notebook taking. You know what I'm saying? You just need to have something to jot down your ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm talking. I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is like from the top of the summer. I've been taking notes and not stealing people's thoughts or quotes, but putting my own thoughts or quotes down there. And then you wind up retaining it better that way. Now, I do have a pad and stuff like that, but one of my hacks is definitely to take notes to what you're listening to.
And this is what I want to say, because I think that Corey, this is where he and I, like, when I tell y'all this beautiful man right here, if he don't send me 79 videos a week, he don't send me one, right?
Plus one.
And like, I politely heart them, right? Because I literally get, especially when I'm in a season of creating, right? Mm-hmm. And right now I'm in a season of creating. I have another business, Real Estate Bestie, and we are deep in a season of creating. So I am consuming information, but I'm ultra focused that right now I'm learning from one teacher, right? I don't need everybody's way to do something. Mm-hmm. I'm learning from one teacher who has a proven strategy of doing what it is that I'm looking to do. And I honestly don't have space for any more information, right?
Yeah.
And that is a danger, because I think that sometimes we continue like I guess setting a purpose. Like, why am I, like, tonight when I sit down, why am I looking, or in the morning, or reading books? Like, what is the purpose of me looking or reading this book or getting this information? And then what am I going to do with it? Mm-hmm. And that's the problem I think that a lot of us fall into. And I can even say it from being a digital creator. I can't tell you how many people will buy one of my courses but never start it. Yeah. Or never finish it, I should say, right? Yeah. They'll start it and they'll get it, but then they'll never finish it. Or I've run challenges for realtors, right? They will raise their hand and they will get in the challenge, but they won't actually do the thing that we're challenging you to do. Mm-hmm. And that is the part where we want to be very careful, is that only consume if you are willing to create, right? And okay, so now let's turn the corner. What does creation look like? What does being a creator? I think about Marissa Allen. We have Marissa on one of the podcasts. We'll have to look up which one. We'll put it in the notes. Marissa is the owner and founder. Her and her husband, Jeff Allen. They actually are office mates. We share a similar office space with them. They're the founders of Cookie Society, right? What I love about Marissa is, like, they literally, go back and listen to the podcast. They literally were on vacation in New York. She ate a cookie. She was like, it's good, but I can do better. Mm-hmm. And she went in the lab and she created, right? She created, she kept going and kept going. And I just want to say, the banana pudding cookie at Cookie Society is she got classics, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. Classics. And that is the one that she went to create. You know what I mean? So at some point, like, I just don't want to be known for all the information in my head. I want people to say, or I don't care what people say. I want to be a model of what you do. And this goes back to our theme of doing it scared, right? Taking leaps with the information that you have. Because other than that, it's just going to be a cemetery full of dreams that were never realized.
Yeah. Okay. So I like the example with Cookie Society, because that's a really good one. I'm sitting here thinking on, as far as what you're trying to do, you're talking about creating.
Yeah. What you have to decide.
Yeah. And you're talking about people, somebody to buy your course and not do nothing with it. In my opinion, I think that you have to be so focused on what you're trying to do, because it's easy to say, I'm reading 5 books, I'm watching 12 different videos on YouTube. So when I was a kid, we used to go to the horse races in Kenosha, Wisconsin with my parents, and each horse is,
love that parents and teach you how to gamble.
I was gambling at a young age. I can tell you, win, play, show, a Quinella, trifecta, superfecta. We can talk about all that later on. But the horses are in each individual stalls. and they have blinders on.
Yeah.
They can't see each other. They all are chasing this rabbit, right? Same thing in this situation. You have to stay focused on what it is. Sure, you can be me and watch 5 different people a day if that's what but that might not serve you, right?
Okay. So I love you. Let me just say this. I would say this out loud. First, I want to say that I love you. And this is the thing when it comes to grading, because you're right. We get so much information that you can be on the course and then you will see something and be like there have been some times, and we probably want to throw back to that episode of all the different entrepreneur things. Like Corey is a real estate guy. He'll come home and be like, we need to open a titty bar. I'm like,
we've had that conversation. We've had dispensary talks. We've had liquor store talks.
And these are extreme, but you will go online and be like, man, I got to get into, commercial disbursement of, you can't even pronounce the stuff. I'm like, dude, that is not your lane.
Okay. Since those, this is pre-COVID. I've narrowed what I'm looking for now.
No, you have, but I'm just giving the example that this is why overconsumption is really, you have to really be careful, because it can get you off track. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in general, we go for the shiny object, right? We're like squirrel. And the reality, and we've shared this, is that no matter what you're working on, consistency, right? Consistency is key. So when you're trying to be consistent in building this thing that you're building, but then you look at a video and Shorty just popped off, you know what I'm saying? She's selling firecrackers on e-commerce. Yeah. And then you wonder when you get into it or you get all the information and now you onto something different. So that's Okay,
so great example. So again, I'm going to go back to kind of knowing what you going after, what your niche is going to be, or what you're passionate about. And John Maxwell, in a nutshell, says what you move towards you, right? And I really believe that. I told you this week, I had something happen in real estate this week to me that I know for the last 90 days has been on my mind, and I've been focused and studying and educating, and bam, it popped, right? Yeah. So, and I'm not talking about like starting a car dealership. I'm talking about something that I've naturally been focused on in a lane that I know and continue to get educated on. So you're right. It can go a lot of different directions, but I think that you need to stay focused in a certain area or two, maybe, and work that. Get educated on that. Whether you're reading, podcasting, paying for classes, mentor, coaches, whatever. I just believe in that now. And I'm sitting here as living proof. And so are you, on things that we've focused on that are now coming to fruition.
Absolutely. So I guess we want to kind of wrap it up by really stating a couple things, right? So number one, I think self-awareness is key.
Definitely.
So if you know that you are you are an information gatherer, I would just really challenge you to really look at, some of the last things that you've immersed yourself with, and what was the fruit, right? What fruit did that time that you spent doing this thing bear? I think about Amy Porterfield, like she's the GOAT. Amy, if anybody know Amy, go ahead and tag her. It is my dream to podcast with Amy and just really honestly just tell her how her course and just what she teaches has been fruitful in my life. But okay, I invested $2,000 in Amy's course, right? To learn how to produce courses. And when I look at that investment, that time, that information that I got, I can see the fruit.
I bet you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The fruit was Real Estate Bestie. The fruit is events. The fruit are podcasts. The fruit are courses. So I can see, but then I can also see, where I spent a whole lot of time learning about intermittent fasting, and it just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I didn't even really try it. So I just want to help people think about it from that perspective, to really, just take inventory. When is the last time that I actually did something with what I learned? And if you are stockpiling a lot of information, I'm going to challenge you to do something with the info. And literally, if you just got a whole bunch of Trader Joe's videos and you ain't never been to Trader Joe's, I'm gonna challenge you before you watch one more. Go to Trader Joe's and buy something.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm looking at the notes here, and we have something that says, "What do you want to create, and what's the purpose of your content?"
Yeah,
take it away.
Yeah, I mean, again, so you have to figure out, why am I even first of all, what is the purpose of me even consuming this, right? So I go back to the example. The purpose of me consuming Amy's content is that Amy is, in my opinion, the number one digital marketer when it comes to digital courses. So I consume her content because I know that she's always going to give me tips and tricks on how to now produce it. I want to produce digital courses. I want to, have time freedom and financial freedom, but still educate and support people along their entrepreneurial journeys. So that is what I want to create. And the first step to doing it is like, okay, do you get a mic and start podcasting? My first step was I started doing Instagram lives to educate realtors, right? So again, moving forward with whatever that is. Now that's what it looked like for me and Corey. Eagle Talk is another alliteration of us saying, okay, we want to create. We don't just want to be consumers or takers, but we want to be givers. So you all have to decide, okay, what is that for me? And that might mean too, let me just say this. You might have to just take a break from all of the noise online. There are definite periods in my life where like I have to shut down Instagram for a week or two.
I would agree. And I wanted you to talk about the purpose of the content so people have an understanding just of what they're doing. Right? You figure out possibly what it is you want to do, but like if you're posting or trying to become I don't want to say influencer, but somebody that specializes in that field.
Well, we all have influence. Yes. Yeah. So even if it's not influencer in the sense of like I'm showing you what the Gap got, like, how can I use the platform that God has given me to influence it and using my gifts for his glory.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I can tell you that. But no, this is good because again, I can overconsume. I love what I do. I love information. But again, my hack is to take notes. If you take notes, your retention is a whole lot better. Don't go so wide. Maybe keep it narrow. Pick a subject or two, and then just grow on it from there.
Yeah, and my hack is take action with whatever you're taking notes on.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, bye, Eagles.
We'll see y'all later.
See you soon.
Next time.